right, everybody, welcome back. So you want the inside scoop on Uganda. You want to really know what they're doing over there.
We're about to take a deep dive.
A deep dive into some really fascinating stuff. We're talking government initiatives.
Yeah, the stuff that really makes a difference.
And let me tell you, some of it is really impressive. We dug into some seriously in-depth reports.
From people who really know their stuff, yeah.
Exactly. We're talking about the kind of stuff that'll make you rethink development, you know? Uganda's not just catching up. They're coming up with some really innovative approaches, and we're going to break it all down for you.
We're talking about concrete examples, the stuff that impacts people's lives every day.
So buckle up, folks, because this is going to be a wild ride. Let's start with the backbone of any nation, the economy.
You gotta have a strong economy.
Exactly. And the source material really hammers home this idea of infrastructure. They're investing heavily in roads, railways, even hydroelectric plants.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's massive. Imagine Uganda with reliable electricity in more homes. Businesses, I mean, that changes everything. Industry takes off, people's daily lives are transformed.
It's like laying the groundwork for an entirely new level of economic growth.
It's not just about building new stuff either.
Right?
They're upgrading existing roads, making sure the whole system can handle more traffic, more goods and services flowing around.
And let's not forget those engineering feats. I mean, some of this stuff, especially in the Rwenzori Mountains, we're talking serious geographical challenges they're overcoming.
It's a testament to their commitment.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the physical infrastructure. The source material also highlighted what they called modern techniques in agriculture, and that piqued my interest. What exactly does that look like in action?
It's about empowering small farmers.
Yeah.
Giving them the tools and the knowledge to thrive.
So we're not just talking about handing out tractors, right?
Right. It's about things like selecting the best crops, things like coffee, which are already important to Uganda, but helping farmers adapt those crops to a changing climate, or setting up better irrigation systems so they're not at the mercy of the weather.
It's about sustainability too, right? Making sure that the land is productive for generations to come.
Absolutely. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about food security. It's about giving rural communities a real shot at economic empowerment. It's thinking long term.
So it's a holistic approach. They're not just zeroing in on one sector of the economy in isolation. It's about interconnectedness.
It has to be, right?
And that brings us to tourism.
Uganda. It's a beautiful country.
Seriously. And the source material definitely emphasizes its potential.
And for good reason. Their tourism industry is booming right now. National parks, those incredible mountain gorillas, wildlife you won't find anywhere else. They've got it all.
And they're smart about it, too. They're attracting investors who are interested in ecotourism.
Sustainable, responsible tourism. It's not just about protecting their natural beauty. It's about making sure that the economic benefits of tourism are reaching the local communities. That's huge.
It's the way forward. Now, the source also touched on industrialization, which I found really interesting. What are some concrete examples of how Uganda is trying to become a bigger player in the global market?
Well, they're doing things like setting up special economic zones. Think of them like industrial parks, but with a purpose. They're designed to attract businesses, give them the support they need to get off the ground.
So it's about creating jobs, diversifying the economy, moving beyond just agriculture.
Exactly. It's about building a more resilient economy, one that's not dependent on just one thing.
That's really smart. But you can't have a strong economy without healthy, educated people, can you?
Absolutely not. That's where things like education and healthcare come into play. The source material uses the term human capital. Basically, it means investing in people.
So a healthier, more educated population equals a stronger workforce, which equals a stronger economy.
Exactly. It's a ripple effect. And those returns, they keep paying off over time.
Makes sense. And this leads us to another crucial issue, poverty. The source mentions poverty reduction as a key goal for the Ugandan government. How are they tackling this?
Like many countries, Uganda faces significant challenges with poverty. They're using a multi-pronged approach. One interesting strategy is cash transfer programs.
Okay, so these are programs that provide direct financial assistance to those who need it most.
Exactly. And sometimes those programs come with conditions. For example, families might receive financial support, but only if their children are enrolled in school and attending regularly.
Interesting. So it's not just about giving handouts, it's about breaking the cycle of poverty.
Precisely. And these programs are just one piece of the puzzle. They're also heavily invested in community development projects.
So what are we talking about here?
We're talking about things like clean water initiatives, job training programs, projects that empower communities to lift themselves up. It might be something as simple as building a well, but the impact is enormous.
It's about investing in people, not just programs.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about those social protection programs you mentioned earlier. What exactly are those and who are they designed to help?
Think of these programs as a safety net for the most vulnerable members of society. Orphans, the elderly, people with disabilities. These individuals often face significant challenges accessing basic necessities. These programs help ensure that everyone, regardless of their circumstances, has a chance to thrive.
A safety net. I like that. It's about creating a more just and equitable society, right?
Absolutely.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about governance and security. These are big topics.
They are.
But our source material really emphasized Uganda's commitment to a multi-party democratic system and their work to strengthen the rule of law.
It's all about stability and creating an environment where businesses feel confident investing. A transparent legal framework is crucial for economic growth.
So would you say that Uganda has a strong legal system already in place, or are these reforms indicative of a significant shift?
Uganda does have a constitution. However, it's no secret that they've had their fair share of challenges with corruption and issues within their justice system. So these reforms are pretty significant. They're about building a stronger foundation for the future.
And of course, we can't talk about governance and security without addressing the elephant in the room: terrorism and crime.
It's a sad reality for many nations, not just in Africa, but around the world. And Uganda has certainly faced its share of terrorist attacks. The key is to not only address the immediate threat, but to tackle the root causes.
Things like poverty, inequality, lack of opportunity.
Exactly. You have to create a society where extremism doesn't have fertile ground to take root.
So how does Uganda fit into the larger global landscape? What does their role on the international stage look like?
Uganda is a very active member of a number of regional groups, most notably the East African Community. This organization focuses on closer economic cooperation and integration among its member states.
So it's about strength in numbers.
Absolutely. By working together, they can have a greater impact, overcome shared challenges, and boost economic prospects for the entire region.
They're also part of the African Union, right?
Yes, and that gives them a voice on the global stage, a platform to advocate for their interests, and a way to contribute to shaping the African continent's future.
It's clear that Uganda has big ambitions, both domestically and internationally.
They're not shying away from the challenge.
They're definitely putting in the work. But let's be real, no country is without its challenges, right?
Of course not.
The source material acknowledges this, pointing to issues like corruption and inequality as ongoing hurdles that Uganda still needs to address.
And that's the sign of a government that's being honest about the situation. Progress isn't always linear, it's not always easy, but the important thing is that they're moving in the right direction, taking steps to create a brighter, more sustainable, more equitable future for all Ugandans.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive on Uganda's government initiatives. I have to say, I'm genuinely impressed. They've got some really innovative approaches in play.
They're thinking ahead.
Absolutely. But as we've discussed, the journey is far from over. It will be fascinating to see how these initiatives play out in the long run, how they shape Uganda's trajectory on the world stage.
I think they have the potential to be a real model for development.
I think so too. And with that, we'll leave you with this thought. What lessons can other nations, both in Africa and beyond, learn from Uganda's approach to development? It's something to ponder.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and stay informed.